Major developments today in the criminal proceedings against disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein. Just hours after his sexual assault trial began in New York, new sex crime charges were filed in Los Angeles. The separate incidents are alleged to have involved two different women and occurred over a two-day period in 2013. Los Angeles County District Attorney Jackie Lacey spoke to the media earlier this afternoon.
Each of these victims told at least one person about the assault in 2013. They reported the crimes to police in 2017. Their cases were presented to my office for criminal case filing consideration later in that year. If convicted as charged in the case, defendant Weinstein faces up to 28 years in state prison. My office will ask the court to set bail at $5 million. Once the defendant's case is completed in New York, we expect him to appear in a courtroom in Los Angeles County to face these charges.
Shauna Reed is covering Weinstein's New York trial. She joins us outside the courtroom in Manhattan. So what more can you tell us about these new charges, Shauna, and the potential implications?
Well, Rashmi, it was definitely a twist in the day's events. Of course, today was just the start of Harvey Weinstein's criminal trial here in New York. So this afternoon, Eastern time, we learned that Los Angeles, their district attorney's office, was announcing that there were going to be these new charges filed. Now, the charges that have been filed include rape as well as sexual battery, and they stem from two alleged incidents that took place in February of 2013, and they involved two separate women. The first allegation is that Weinstein raped a woman in a hotel room on February 18th, and that he pushed his way into this woman's room. The second incident allegedly occurred the next night, and that Weinstein again raped a woman at a Beverly Hills hotel. Now, Weinstein could face up to 28 years if he is convicted in this particular case in Los Angeles, and that is in state prison. And we know that his bond has been recommended by prosecutors at the amount of $5 million. Of course, he is going to be here in New York dealing with his trial that is expected to last anywhere from the next 8 weeks, and it could be longer depending on how things go. But after this wraps up here, he then will have to appear in a California courtroom to now deal with all of these charges. We also heard from the Los Angeles County District Attorney, Jackie Lacey, who says that the evidence that was presented, they believe that it shows that Weinstein used his power and influence to gain access to these women and then committed these crimes against them. So he is, of course, as I mentioned, still dealing with this trial. Things just got underway today, so a lot happening right now with his particular case. And of course, his legal team is probably not excited to be hearing about these latest charges. Rashmi?
So jury selection begins tomorrow. What happened in that courtroom today?
Well, it was really interesting because for quite some time we were outside. There were a number of journalists that were inside the courtroom. They weren't allowed to text. They weren't allowed to share tweets. So it was really when the lawyers came out that we were able to learn a lot more details about what was happening for the journalists that were outside. And what we did learn was that there was a lot of procedural back and forth going on between, of course, the district attorney's office as well as the defense attorneys. And there were a lot of things that were asked. For instance, Weinstein's defense team wanted to see a sequestered jury. Of course, concerns that, now learning about new charges, that could have an impact when it comes to jury selection. So that was, of course, a concern. It sounded as though his lawyers hinted that they knew that this might happen, that this could have been coming, these new charges from Los Angeles. But take a listen. We heard also from Gloria Allred, who represents a number of accusers, two accusers that will be, their stories will be heard, and cases will be heard in this trial, as well as Harvey Weinstein's lawyer, Donna Rotuno. Take a listen to what both of them had to say today.
This has been a journey to justice. And, as I've said many times, my firm has been the leading women's rights law firm in the United States for 44 years. And we are dedicated to making sure that women enjoy their rights and not be intimidated or retaliated against because they assert their rights.
I think that in the end, the government doesn't want our side to have a voice. I think they believe that their side of this story is the only one that matters and the only one that counts. And that's what this trial's for. This trial is to show the jury, the state of New York, and the world that there's more to this than they would like everyone to believe.
So that request to sequester the jury was denied by the judge in this case. We know jury selection begins tomorrow, and it could be a bit of a challenge given the nature of the Weinstein case and the story that we've learned about in terms of allegations from dozens of women that is quite well known. So that will be a challenge coming ahead for, of course, the court. But we'll be here throughout the week and bringing you more coverage, Rashmi.
Thank you, Tashana. CBC's Tashana Reid in New York.